So before Seventh Wave, I started off as a leader in retail, and I worked through a few different sectors in retail, including DIY and culture and books and music. I led teams of over 200 people in the DIY sector. And then around 2010, I was really fortunate that Apple came knocking, and I joined Apple in 2010 and had an incredible experience at Apple. I led large teams in the UK for them, and then I worked internationally for Apple. I got to work in countries like Turkey and Istanbul, in Berlin, in Madrid, in the US, leading teams in that amazing company. Once I left Apple, before I started working with Seventh Wave, I continued in a technology vein. So I worked with tech companies, leading software teams and development teams, doing web development, infrastructure development, app development. And then I started working with Seventh Wave about 5 years ago now. I work with Seventh Wave. My own personal why would be, obviously, after all that experience in tenure and professional experience that I built up, I wanted to do something that I knew would take my experience and would allow me to share it really effectively with lots of different teams. I've seen firsthand the impact that great leadership and development had on me during my career. And I think to be able to share that now with other teams in lots of different sectors and to see the effect that the learning has on individuals, that's just a real privilege. When I leave a team after working with them on a series of days, to see that impact and see that and hear that feedback from people is incredibly rewarding. So it's really, I suppose, to sum up, it's an opportunity to share my years of leadership experience in all the different scenarios and sectors I've worked in, and to be able to see the difference that can make for people who I'm working with. The challenges are really varied, but if you asked us for certainly the top couple that are a common theme, the first one I would say is a fear of conflict. So we often see teams maybe getting a little bit dysfunctional because they're not speaking up in the right manner, they're not challenging each other in the right way, they're perhaps confusing a fear of conflict with actually having really robust, healthy conversations and using human curiosity to challenge each other. So sometimes there's some aspects of a fear of conflict which are very apparent. Then the other one I would say is a lack of accountability, or a lack of us understanding what accountability is. So accountability is vital in every organisation, but so many companies don't understand that accountability has to be taken, and you have to work with people on a human level to unlock their ability to accept accountability. And that's a really big, tough ask for a lot of teams. So I would say broadly, a fear of conflict and a lack of understanding of what accountability is. One of the nice things is those almost what I call moments of magic are so consistent when you're working through this program with teams. It's a real privilege to see. Just this year I finished with a company that's a manufacturing company, and there was 15 people in the group, and the majority of them had never had any formal leadership training. And because they were coming from a place where maybe they had a perception that leadership training was going to be fairly dry, fairly sterile, to see them by the end of the program, when they shared their learning with me and with their colleagues and leadership team, to see some people who were probably healthy skeptics at the start of the program, to see them leave that program shaking my hand, full of smiles, talking about the impact that the models had had, that was a huge wow moment this year for me. Staying connected to the clients after the end of the formal program is always a real privilege. I often love to do that, even if I'm just passing through London and I get an opportunity to go and see someone who maybe 3 months or 6 months earlier I'd been working with. And just this year I was working with a big services company, and this individual I went to see his site, his client services site, and the work he did with insights discovery was just phenomenal to see. What started off with him understanding insights in his profile, he'd rolled out to his first line of managers and then his second line of managers, and in the boardrooms they had printouts of everyone's profile. They had a copy of where the team wheel sits, so they were living and breathing the colour dynamics in that organisation. In the same company but a different site, there was another leader of that business. When I went in their office, they had some of the time management tools to keep it front and centre on the wall behind their desks. So when we were working, some of the tools which I'd helped introduce to them and help them understand, they were keeping alive in their office as visual reminders of how to structure and how to manage their own time going forward more effectively. So little things like that, when you reconnect with people, it really gives me again that understand that people are becoming really embedded in the learning and are really taking it beyond the sessions into the day-to-day.